The first thing that comes to mind for a lot of trainers and athletes and riders and triathletes and general population when they think about balance training is they think about wobble boards and really cool Bozu balls. But what we're going to talk about today is how you can ditch these toys, and that's really what they are toys, to allow you to be able to gain better balance and stability to be able to put the power down to the pedals or out on the road. Balance and stability training can both be fun, or it can get you performance, or a blend of the both. Today, I'm going to show you why you don't necessarily need the wobble board, the endo board, although there are certainly times where it is important to be able to go through and balance and be able to fire up those muscles just a little bit. But really, this is something that's a lot more fun than it is performance-oriented. So let's ditch the Bozu ball and ditch the balance board and go through an exercise that's actually going to help you be able to get better balance and stability. And this is simply single leg balance. That's all it is. Now, a lot of us are going to be looking at this and say, easy, I can do that. Well, let's take a look at a case study of one, me. As I go through here and I lift my injured leg, you can see I have a little bit of sway over to the side. My ankle is flexed, my toes are up pretty good. What happens if I go to the not so good side? Oh, there's a lot of sway. And then it's a lot harder for me to balance. Why would I be on a Bozu ball or an endo board or anything if I can barely balance on one foot? Instead, what we want to try doing is something called pawing. So we just need something to support ourselves and allow us to learn how to go through that gait cycle, getting proximal stiffness to produce distal motion from the hip. We just need something to hold on to. It could be a wall. We want to try and sway as little as possible. In fact, don't sway, think solid. So I'm going to lift up onto that leg, firing the glute, firing the abs, coming up. My toes are pointed up, and I'm going to come down and back and try and come back through. That was actually pretty good. There we go. And what this is doing is working on the stability technique, the balance that you need to go through and run, as well as to be able to pedal your bike. Why is this important? Because your ability to maintain pelvic stability while you're getting motion from the hip is exactly how you're going to be able to get more power down to the pedals or down to the road. Now, as you do this, it's actually pretty simple. It's a very basic technique that we want here. It's just balancing. We want to have as little sway from side to side, so I'm going to brace. I'm interacting with the ground with my feet, and then I'm going to come up, toes pointed up, come down, back, and through. Down, back, and through. And you notice I'm not tilting the pelvis either way. What this is an actual training of a movement pattern that you should have good control over as a human being. If you consider yourself an athlete, as a cyclist, we can get away with a little bit of anterior pelvic tilt, certainly, but we really want to make sure that we're not getting too caught up in the toys that are out there. Now, don't get me wrong. These are certainly a lot of fun to challenge yourself, to go through, to try and get a little bit of single leg balance, and you're trying to use all those small muscles. But in fact, these are not going to build your performance over time because you can build what are called compensatory movements, which is your body's adapting to just get it done as opposed to getting into better positions, which is what the other drill does. There are places and times in different programs for each of these. In fact, I just spent about 3.5, 4 months of working on the wobble board, and that's one of the reasons why it's so good on this leg is because I had to work on my not so good leg. So me being me, I figured, hey, what the heck, let's just try and do both of them. So there is certainly a time and a place for a wobble board, but as you can see, it's actually not that challenging for me at this point. I'm a little bit tired. We're towards the end of filming here today. But look, this is just a toy. If you want to improve performance, you saw I got a little bit better with the pawing, but that's actually going to carry over to my running, my ability to interact with the ground, and then I can build a solid foundation off of that. Now, it comes to stability. That comes from the stiffness of the midsection, and the core is everything between your neck, your elbows, and your knees. I actually have a blog post about this up on humanvortextraining.com from the beginning of June 2020, which you can go and check out what true core training is. I also have podcast on this, on the Strong Savvy Cyclist and Triathlete podcast. What is true core training? And the thing is that once you start understanding what balance and stability are, and training for what you want the outcome to be, as opposed to just looking cool in the gym or being able to juggle or do whatever. I was gonna do a squat on the wobble board on top of the Bosu ball, but it's just showing off. It's for my ego. It's not for performance. It doesn't do anything, right? So really important to think about this. When you go out and you're thinking about what is my balance training, what is my core training going to be, you wanna think about being stable and strong on one foot, and being able to produce power without losing motion or creating motion at other places. Those in the functional training field, we'll call these energy leaks. It's just a hot term in functional training. This is functional training. Being on a balance ball, unless you're running on molten lava or lava that's beginning to harden, this isn't gonna help my running at all. You're running on a road. Maybe Xterra, you could say, yeah, I'm running on the trails. The trails have rocks, they have other things. So what would be your balance training? Go out onto dirt with the same type of soil that you're gonna be running on and then do the balancing there. That would be better than doing a balance board, which is just gonna move and you can master easily. So I hope you found this to be informational and it's more educational in that I want you to critically think about what am I actually getting out of this? Is being on the wobble board and having to balance on one foot and bringing the foot back and going to the side, is this actually making me a better athlete? Is there something that's better for me that's going to help me be able to improve? Now, of course, if you're in physical therapy or physiotherapy, as they call it in Europe, and your physiotherapist has you using this, of course, listen to them. That's what you need for that time. But for most of us at home, don't waste the $120 on a Bosu ball. Instead, go buy a kettlebell and then subscribe down below. Give us a thumbs up because we've got great content to help you be able to become more stable and flexible through strength. So until next time, remember, train smart.